Hi, I'm Professor Andrew McLeod and welcome to this, the 9th in the series of Global Thinkers Forum podcasts on the coronavirus. I've been kind of upbeat the last few weeks, talking about ways and methodologies to look at and examine this virus and what is happening and how you can see your way through it. In one of the earlier podcasts, I talked about having the strength to change the things that you can, the serenity to leave the things you can't, and the wisdom to know the difference, urging you to focus on those things that are within your control and impact upon those. In another podcast, I asked you to put on sunglasses. Like the deer in the headlights, look through the headlights and see the other side. There will be another side. We will be recovering. There is an optimism. This podcast is going to be unusual because there's going to be a little bit of pessimism coming in this one. If you say the first wave of deaths was China and the second wave of deaths was Europe and the United States, and add on to that other Western or Western-like countries, Singapore, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, the third wave of deaths is coming in the lesser developed economies, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, South America. We see the catastrophe that is unfolding in Brazil. We're far less visible about the catastrophe that is unfolding in Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa has said it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. And indeed, if you go to the Johns Hopkins University data and have a look over the last 4 weeks, you see there's been a slight uptick in cases all through the last 4 weeks. Is this third wave beginning? First wave China, second wave wealthy countries, third wave poor countries. And if you doubt for a moment that a third wave in poor countries would impact on you in a wealthy country, think about this. How much of your supply chain starts in the poor countries? Shirts made in Bangladesh, cut flowers in Kenya, vegetables and fruit grown in places like Morocco. Will these supply chains be impacted? Will you be able to have the ready access to fruit and vegetables? And that's just looking at your quality of life without looking at lives themselves. The one thing I know for sure after this virus is many ethicists, many PhD students are going to write many essays, books, theses on different angles and sides of this. Some people will say the lockdown created more deaths than the virus would have. Some will say that's comparing economics with life. Others will point out that the economic slowdown is probably going to kill more in the developing world than the virus would have. The developing world with high populations under the age of 20 are far less susceptible than the wealthier countries with high populations over the age of 70. I'm not going to give you a definitive answer to any of those questions, but I am going to ask you this. Conspiracy theorists are going to go nuts. There are naysayers that are going to go nuts. There are lots of people that are going to second guess the science or decisions that governments made all over the world. And we're forgetting that these people are having to have made decisions on limited information under an enormous amount of pressure. The one thing that we all must do coming out of this virus is to have a sense of unity and togetherness, a sense that we are all fighting this together in our town, in our village, in our state, in our country, and globally. And let's remember that as we start to see Western countries get on top of this, start to unlock and start to move out of their first waves of the virus, just as it's really starting to get hold in South America, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa. And if it is to re-enter our economies in a second or third wave, as we start to release our economic lockdowns, as we start to get excited about hopping on aeroplanes again, it'll re-enter the virus, our economies, from those countries where it is still endemic, which may be the poor countries that we're not helping enough. Maybe the third wave is the beginning of our second. Yes, my other podcasts have been optimistic, and yes, this one is a little bit pessimistic. I don't fathom for a second why the stock markets are at the same level they were in August last year, because there's no way in hell that our economies are in as good a shape as they were in August last year. I put a bit of pessimism out there to reflect upon one of my earlier podcasts where I say you've got to plan for multiple options and be ambivalent as to the outcome. Maybe we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and that's close. Maybe we are just seeing a reflection on the wall in the tunnel's curve. Maybe we're a long way from this. I actually don't know yet, but I do worry about it. The last comment I'll say for this podcast is we are a planet. We do need to work together on this. The third surge is happening in the poorer countries. Let's not forget them, and let's not forget how dependent we are on them into the future. I'm Andrew McLeod. This has been the 9th in a series of podcasts for the Global Thinkers Forum.